happy day to you. Welcome to the 18th day of March 2026. This is Morning Cafe. How hot is your coffee this morning? A lot. And when I say a lot is happening in this country.
Sema banta.
Where? Hey.
You know, social media has been abuzz with that.
Yes.
But we'll discuss that later. I'm even more excited about something else that's happening.
Yes.
Wanasema voter found.
Niko kadi.
Voter found, niko kadi. Tuko kadi. Tutoka kwa mimi ndio sifuna sana ni niko kadi.
Niko kadi.
And that thing is so exciting. Anyway, let me introduce myself. My name is Freddy Ndibuli. Karibu sana to Morning Cafe. So this hashtag, because it's trending.
Yes.
Voter found. And I think IBC have finally found something that could excite the Gen Zs and encourage them to vote. That portal where you can actually go and check whether or not your registration details are there. Because previously you'd have to go queue, angalie kwa list, uambiwe ni kama jina yako ilipotea. And now you just simply go to the portal, una key in a few details, alafu inakwambia voter found. I love it.
Yes. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Anne Odida. But you know what is currently trending, this Niko Kadi, is actually a drive that photojournalist Alan Ademba is actually pushing. And I saw he tweeted something that caught my eye. And he said, the poster that he made that, of course, attracted the Gen Zs to go register as new voters, he only used 1,000 Kenyan shillings for that. Only. So he was challenging the IEBC that with all that money that they have, then they can do so much more, which, of course, they are not doing. So yesterday, they actually registered 641 new voters. They are targeting 15 million as Gen Zs.
15 million. You think they'll get there? Even the IBC numbers, they just said, okay, fine, we're hoping for 6.3 million.
That is what they say. They say IBC is hoping for 6.3, but with them, they're going to challenge IBC with 15 million new, voters.
Well, it's actually possible because, look at it this way, fine, even with that trend, voter found, Niko Kadi. Remember, the voter registration exercise is still the continuous one, where you can only register at the constituency level, the constituency center. But starting the end of this month, on 30th, IBC is rolling out mass registration, where you'll be having IBC clerks at hospitals, at churches, in schools, campuses. If they do it that way, because they're doing it, in about a week's time, they roll it out. It means that, yes, those numbers could actually be achievable.
Yes.
I don't know about 15 million, but yeah.
You know, I think Gen Zs listen to one another. So I think that if at all they will just rally one another to register as voters, then they would, as opposed, in my own thinking, as opposed to if somebody else tells them, you know,
hawataki
kusikiza watu, ukiwaambia wewe, ukiwaambia wafanye watafanya, lakini Alan Ademba akiwa sasa watakusikia juu umesema, but Alan Ademba akiwaambia they go register as voters, then they would actually do that.
And justifies the means. I'm very excited about that.
I'm very excited. This is a very exciting exercise for me. I don't know, I've talked about it time and time again, but today is Global Recycling Day. That will forming the basis of our conversation later on. Have you ever heard of such a day? Umaisikia siku Global Recycling Day. Well, it's a bit new. It started in 2018. So if somebody hajui ni nini, so we'll be having the chairperson of K-Pro board here, Stephen Muli, atuambie more about Global Recycling Day. What are we doing as Kenyans to move from linear economy to, of course, circular economy? Of course.
Kuna mtu anataka kujua kama ukirecycle linear yogurt kama ni recycling. Yeah, I think it is.
It is. Ukikunywa nayo maji, bado hiyo umerecycle. I thought she meant that
you could even plant a flower there.
Yes.
In your house.
You can do a lot of things. So, yes, we'll be finding out how we are doing as a country in as far as moving from linear economy to circular economy is concerned.
All right, so that conversation coming your way at 8 a.m. this morning. Before that, we'll be having State of the Nation. And for that discussion, we'll be having Senator Dr. Danson Mungatana, who's a senator, Tana River County. Joe Nyutu, Senator Muranga, will also be with us alongside political commentator Meshach Odede. Starting at 6:30, do stand by for that conversation. Meanwhile, you can get interactive with us.
Absolutely.
Yes, through our various social media pages at TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're on X, TV47 Digital, uko unajua kuna banta mingi sana X, lakini usijali, we'll find our way through. Tutapita katikati yao. Remember to use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47.
All right, let's come back and take a look at the state of the weather. All right, let's see how the weather's looking. Kiambu, light rains expected today. It's 15 degrees this morning, highs of 24 degrees today. In Busia, the thunderstorms, the president is in Western, so huko ni kama kutanyesha kidogo. It's 18 degrees this morning, highs of 28 degrees expected today. Narok, this morning is 13 degrees. It's also likely to rain in Narok, highs of 23 degrees expected in Narok. Remember, the Kenya Meteorological Department has warned that heavy rainfall is expected from tomorrow, Thursday, through the weekend, of course, with the risk of flooding in some areas. Embu this morning, it's 17 degrees, light rains expected, highs of 26 degrees. Kericho, it's also likely to rain, it's 13 degrees this morning, highs of 24 degrees. Nakuru is also likely to rain, it's 13 degrees this morning and highs of 23 degrees in Nakuru. That's the state of the weather. Let's have the quote of the day. Dare to embrace your uniqueness rather than following the crowd. Forge your own path and in doing so, inspire others to discover their own distinct journeys. You have to be unique.
Yeah. You feel you're not unique. Forget about copying each other.
Yes.
Nusi ni copy.
You wish.
We all need to be unique.
Yes.
That's the quote of the day.
That's the quote of the day. Be unique. Let's take a look at what's making headlines this morning.
Of course, as expected, the dailies are simply awash with stories about what happened yesterday with the exchanges between the president and his former deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, plus whatever the president said about other opposition leaders. Okay, fine, he did not mention any names, but the standard starts with this unpresidential. Whatever the president is doing, they say it's not unpresidential, and they address him, they say, His Excellency. What happened to presidential decorum, they ask. Ruto's 4-day Western tour meant to showcase development instead became a shocking display of insults, body shaming and personal attacks. Opposition leaders were ridiculed for their families, habits and political failures, while the president boasted of his achievements. A platform that should inspire hope turned into a spectacle of unchecked profanity and political theatre. The story covered on page 4. They've given a few of the quotes, I think the more palatable ones on the front page. He said a lot more, but I think the standard wamechagua zile zinaweza ndikika kwa ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti ndo wameka pale. But I'm sure because these videos are all over.
Yeah.
And we'll be having that as part of our discussion today. Yeah. And I don't know, what do you feel about that kind of exchange? Because it's about 16 months to election day.
Very, very unprecedented. I feel like the president is addressing the wrong things. Because at all, if we have 16 months, as you put it, then a lot of things need to be talked about, need to be addressed, especially by the president now. We have the passport saga. The president has never talked about it. We have, there's a system or a machine at Kenyatta National Hospital, which is not working. The president has never addressed that. The flood situation, remember right now it's above over 60 people have died from that. The president, you see the urgency that he's using to respond to Rigathi Gachagua. Imagine if he used that same urgency to respond to that flood.
But there are those who
issue.
argue, that we may be criticizing the president a bit too much. The other guys are also, in a way, fighting to be presidents. Should they be excused for comments they made?
We are talking about the office of the president.
One of the people he's having this banter with occupied the second senior most position.
Occupied. Right now he doesn't occupy it. But right now, we are talking about the office of the president. Like this newspaper puts it, whatever happened to presidential decorum?
Whatever happened to the right of reply as well? Because there are those who argue that, yes, the president too has a right of reply. Huwezi kuja tu niambie kitu and then nikuache hivyo, nitakujibu.
Let me tell you
I'll
something.
put you in your place.
You know, there was a time we were reading an article, it was by the People Daily, I think sometime last week, and the People Daily were revealing that an insider told them that members of parliament had been directed to protect the deputy president, Kithure Kindiki, such that if people, the opposition team, are throwing jabs at the deputy president, then the members of parliament, he has a backup. But right now, you see, that is for the deputy president. Then what about the president?
Yes.
Because I feel like he's not the one who should be responding
if
to...
If these exchanges were coming from Sudi, I think everyone would be okay about it. It's
because it's Rigathi Gachagua?
No.
Yeah,
I think we're criticizing the president a bit too much.
No.
Not looking at the other side.
I am of the different opinion.
Anyway.
Very unpresidential.
That's how the Standard has covered that story. They've hit hard on the president, calling him unpresidential. And that story covered the entire page on page 4, with a slight column there on Gachagua sustaining attacks because the former deputy president insists. Sasa hivyo vile umefanya alisema kazi yetu ni kukukasirisha. Umekasirika?
Now you see, that's the point, because now he's proving Rigathi Gachagua right.
There's a story on page 2 of the Standard talking about directive on undiplomatic trend by embassies and ministries. Is also an interesting story there. But on page 3 of the Standard, and this is very sad, they talk about a third of Kenyans starving. And 18% children are stunted. You know, you talk about a third of Kenyans, that's 18 million plus.
Yes.
Yeah? Because we're about 55 million. So you can imagine 18 million.
Starving.
That's more than even those who voted last time, who are starving to death. But the argument hapa juu ni mambo ingine.
You see, now this is what I'm talking about. These are the things that should be addressed.
Incidentally, they talked about food and how much people are eating.
Yes.
You
have to, when the gym, you watch what you're eating. Lakini, that is what I'll be using on you. And the gym, that is what I'll be using. You know...
I feel like I need to go to the gym.
No, wachana na hiyo mambo. Hiyo ni mambo ya Rigi G.
You know, once it came from the president that wewe enda gym.
You felt it?
Probably I should.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put those videos somewhere so I can always replay them. Mtu akileta mchezo, enda gym wewe.
The question is, because many people are arguing that the president is president of all.
Yes.
In Kenya, there are people who are thin, there are others who are not so thin. What did the president tell people who are not so thin? Please shape up.
And fit.
Go to the
and
gym.
fat.
And fat.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway. Still on page 3, and as we approach the end of the Ramadan period, Chief Kadhi has invited moon sighting experts to mark the end of Ramadan. We could just have a holiday.
On Friday.
End of this week.
On Friday.
Yeah. Has it been confirmed?
On Thursday or Friday.
That was anticipated?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So that's page 1 and 2. Of course, that story about Winnie Odinga and going for the deputy party post. What happened to her role in the Linda Mwananchi? So, yeah, quite a number of stories. Quite a number of stories on the Standard. But let's go to the back page. Liverpool seek to hit back as they battle Galatasaray, and this is a Champions League where mambo imekuwa mzuri leo because as we wake up, I didn't get to watch the games last night. They were a bit too late, but I woke up to the news that Arsenal beat Bayer Leverkusen 2-0 at the Emirates, meaning that Arsenal now progressed to the quarterfinals.
Yeah? They're doing so well.
Meanwhile, Manchester City walitandikwa huko kwao na Real Madrid mbaya sana. So
Moms ana support team gani?
Moms timu yao ni Chelsea. Hata hao ni kama walilimwa tu. Au wamezoea sasa hivi.
That's why he's always sad sometimes.
Wanakuja kazini wamekasirika kila asubuhi.
Juu ya Chelsea.
Na wataendelea kulimwa tu vivyo hivyo.
Mpira ya wazungu.
Mpira ya wazungu. That's a Standard this morning.
Let's take a look at Taifa leo. Rais achemka. Rais Ruto jana alitumia ziara yake magharibi mwa Kenya kushambulia vikali viongozi wa upinzani na kufungua malumbano makali ya kisiasa. Ilikuwa ni nipe nikupe, huku vinara wa upinzani wakimjibu rais kwa maeneo makali. Kuna mwingine, unaona hiyo story ya Jimbe niliongelelewa. He didn't mention names, lakini kuna mwingine alienda akasema, sasa mimi skuli kwako. Interesting. Rais na vinara wa upinzani wadhalilishana hadharani katika siku iliyojaa cheche za matusi na kuumbwana. Singapore tutafika, tumechoka.
Tutafika, lakini huko rais amesema watu wenye wanakula sana wafiki Singapore.
In fact, makes sense. Utaweza kutembea.
Meli haibebi watu wengi hivyo.
Tumbo ikiwa kubwa inarorua shati. That's the main story on the front page of Taifa Leo this morning. Vidokeza zaidi, ushindi wa Atwoli Court wapingwa. Ushindi wake kama katibu mkuu wa koti umepingwa mahakamani. Amesema you can't go for 25 years.
Well, but
he won unopposed.
Yes, if people who are members of Kotu decide he is a
ametosha.
Ametosha. Anyway, mbona tunashughulika sana? Does it mean that if you're advanced in age, then you do not qualify for leadership? Well, ama lazima kuwe na term limits kila mahali, the same way term limits?
I think so. Term limits should make sense. That reminds me, somebody say that, you know, these leaders who have been there for a very long time, they're making decisions for people, like they will not be there to live for these decisions that they're making. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I saw a tweet like that. Yeah. I'm sort of tying it to what is happening at Kotu.
But the other problem is that many people who are criticizing what Kotu is doing are not even members of any union. Wanapiga tu kelele huko nje, lakini hata belong to any union. Are you a union member anywhere?
Yes.
Which union?
KUJ.
Are you a registered member of the KUJ?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you not?
Okay.
Are you not?
Me, I'm not criticizing anyone. On
the top strip, PAA yatua kwa Wilbaru. Hatimie chama cha pamoja African Alliance kimejiunga na kile cha Rais Ruto cha UDA, na Wakenya walivyowekewa mchele kule Safari Rally. Dust ilionekana. Man must be there though.
Yeah, they saw water and dust.
Visa vya watu kuwekewa dawa kwenye vinywaji na kupoteza pesa katika mbio za Safari Rally Naivasha wikendi vimeripotiwa. Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
All right, the glass are off. This is the Daily Nation. The same story about the exchanges that the president had with the leaders of the opposition. The leaders of the opposition wamesema sasa umekasirika. Hiyo ndo kazi yetu sasa. So the Daily Nation goes with that headline, gloves are off. And that's the question. Is this an indication of what we are going to see for the next 16 months till election day? Hatu unaambiwa wewe kwanza unfat.
There's something he said, mnalala,
mnaharibu hewa.
Mnaharibu.
Well, anyway, so they say bare knuckles. President William Ruto yesterday responded to blistering attacks by his rivals with an unprecedented tirade. And yes, they call it a tirade because his voice was actually a notch higher. It's not the way he usually talks and addresses rallies. He was almost shouting. Yeah. Basically accused some people of heinous crimes, including murder, as the warring factions descended into an ugly slugfest in the lead up to the next general election. The other question is, there are very serious accusations that even the president made, that like murder accusations. But for the president to say something like that and just leave it, what does it mean? If someone really committed such a heinous crime, shouldn't they be charged or at least investigated? Because the president cannot just say, "We by the way unajua wewe uliua mtu," and then leave it there. Yeah. What does it mean? What does it communicate even to younger Kenyans? Yeah. He called someone a fraudster, another murderer. But then now, I think when they went deep into family issues, oh, wewe hauna bibi, wewe.
Jenga kwako.
So the Daily Nation has actually spared 2 pages for this, pages 4 and 5 of this paper. Just Ruto hurls insults at political rivals. Alafu ka story kadogo hapo ni why Kenyans fighting in Russia will not be compensated. That is one of the takeouts from the
Russia visit.
The visit to Russia by the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Other stories, inside pages, Winnie Odinga again, and moved to go for the deputy party leader's position in the upcoming NDC. Ile story ya Nairobi Hospital iko pale page 10, another full page. Nairobi Hospital chiefs remain defiant despite president's crackdown, and the president also took time to explain why he's bothered about what's happening at Nairobi Hospital. On the back page, why Kenyan top runners give indoor racing a skip. Apparently, Kenyan athletes don't like running indoors. You know, there are those indoor arenas. Nataka ile proper, kama jua inachoma mtu. Yes. So that's a Daily Nation, more or less the same story on the front page, like the Standard.
All right, let's take a look at the People Daily now. Questions of affordable houses built on land with no title documents. Of course, this is according to Auditor General Nancy Gathungu, who says that only 14 projects have title deeds, 9 have letters of allotment, 23 have a certificate of such, while 2 projects are sitting on community land. That's the main story. She says, besides uncertainty of ownership, latest report questions delivery with only 3,611 units completed against an annual target of 200,000 houses pledged under the government plan. Perhaps we are too ambitious.
Yeah.
We are over-ambitious as a country.
I remember the president even gave a promise about by when he should have finished the Rironi Mau Summit Road. They said ile jam tunaona sahi by Christmas this year,
Yes.
haitakuwa.
Itakuwa postponed to April.
Wamemove.
Of course.
So December bado tutapata hiyo jam.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Kama tutapata December barabara ikiwa clear, tunaangalia April next year. That's the main story on the front page of the People Daily this morning. And on the top strip, they ask a question there: will Kenya's middle class be 2027 elections swing votes?
Will they?
Will they though?
Because now the Gen Z are determined to be a swing vote as well.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Anyway.
Lakini Gen Z wakishikana?
Mambo bad.
Mambo bad.
Tuko kadi. Let's take a look at the Star. And the Star goes with something totally different. What has been happening with Nairobi River, from stream to sludge to clear waters. They say industrial effluent and treated sewage have left river polluted. Stories on pages 4 and 5 of this paper. They have a very interesting photo of that Nairobi River and the gabions built alongside it. This is a section of the river in Kiambu. So, yeah, I think this is with a kind of warning that the meteorological department has already given, which is also on the front page of the Star.
Yes.
Pale chini. Heavy rains expected from Thursday as wet season builds up. I think this is a conversation that we should really be having. But because the gloves are off, we are talking about something else.
Yes.
The front pages today. But kama tumeambiwa ile mvua inakuja ni ile serious. Wacha ile tuliona last week. Wamesema kesho na kesho kutwa kuna mvua serious sana. Pale juu, that story about the president and his exchanges with the opposition matters politics, gloves off as Ruto and ex-DP Gachagua attacks get personal. And yes, they did get really personal. The news about this popular biker, Luya Kid Jr. and his wife killed in a bike crash. The one sad one, and I think because he was very popular on Twitter especially. And I've seen a lot of banter and exchanges that, oh, alisema hivi siku fulani. The guy is just...
popular for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Anyway, he died. I think we should just, once someone dies, we don't say a lot of bad things about them. We just leave it.
That is where we go wrong as Africans.
Now, you want to change that trend now?
No, that is where we go wrong. Kama ulikuwa mwizi, mbona niende niseme you were good and you terrorized me?
Wow.
Yet you were stealing from even my valuable
He's accused of being a bully.
A bully, yes. And kuna evidence kakalatas, but may he rest in peace though.
Stories inside the pages huko ndani, hiyo mvua iko page 3. So it's actually a big story, and that spread pages 4 and 5 of this paper on that Nairobi regeneration project. Other stories, gloves off. Ile tu tuko na ile quiet moves to reposition Raila family. You can actually tell the same stories that are on all the pages. Back page, time to make amends, matters football, title chasing leopards, face defining test against resilient Nairobi United. That's the Star this morning.
I wanted to comment more on that story about Luya Kid, but let me just let it slide. I have no problem with him. I've never met him. I actually knew about him after, of course, he died on X. But there's a tweet that he made that really caught my eye. It's a screenshot that I saw yesterday. There's a helicopter that was flying. Of course, the helicopter's flying. And he commented and said, nimesikia ndege inapaa. I hope it's Raila Odinga who is dead.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's take a look at the Business Daily now. Legal gap allows workers' firms to evade housing levy. This is the main story on the front page of the Business Daily this morning. They say that workers and their employers are evading the monthly 1.5% housing levy deductions, helped by a loophole in the law that failed to give KRA powers to crack down on defaulters. And an audit of the Affordable Housing Fund, which manages the billions of shillings the government gets from the levy, revealed that thousands of taxpayers are paying tax and not the housing levy. Oh wow. That's how unalipa tax, lakini your employer is not remitting that 1.5.
Because if it's affordable housing, they have to match.
Yes.
Then we want to match.
Yes, it's affordable housing. 1.5, 1.5.
Okay.
Kenya plans powerful watchdog to police AI systems use. That's another story. And page 2, and on the ticker, KRA says Trump deal doesn't shield US tech firms from tax. That's the Business Daily. Tuvuke boda.
Tuvuke boda, tuangazie masuala ya magazeti ya kule kwingine. Tuanze na gazeti la Daily Monitor in Uganda. Freedom of speech wins is a big headline on the front page of the Daily Monitor today. The Constitutional Court of Uganda has nullified a controversial Computer Misuse Amendment Act of 2022. We have something similar in Kenya. In a landmark ruling that deals a major blow to the government's efforts to regulate online speech. Now, this is the first time I'm hearing a court in Uganda actually going against what the government has said. That's a new one. Hata Kenya ni siku moja tu walinalify ile mambo ya election. But on this Computer Misuse Amendment Act, I think in Kenya it's something, it's almost named the same. And it has provisions similar to what there are there. So at least they say freedom of speech wins. That's a Daily Monitor.
Actually, ours is also inaitwa hivyo. Computer Misuse Act.
Misuse Act. And there are provisions therein that people are not really comfortable with.
Ours.
Yes, and they feel probably they should be amended. Tutajua mahali hiyo kesi itafika. So that's the Daily Monitor. The other paper in Uganda is the New Vision. Electoral Commission releases 105 billion for election officials. 105 billion Ugandan money though. Sistuke sana Uganda. Polling officials, drivers, security officials to be paid. Unajua wengi, if you've ever worked for IBC, sometimes pesa ikujangi haraka sana. Mutangoja. So at least the elections were in January, and now the EC has released 105 billion for their pay. We have the president, his son, and the ambassador mwingine pale. Ambassador Washington Rubik Konga. U.S. military generals holds talks with Museveni. That's the New Vision. Tuingie Tanzania? Yes. The Citizen. In Tanzania, why leaders still invoke JPM's leadership values. This is 5 years since the death of John Pombe Magufuli. Hey, it's been 5 years. Yeah. Amekaa sana huko. Like 5 years after the death of President John Magufuli, Tanzanian leaders continue to invoke his leadership style, values, and philosophy as a reference point in governance, public service, and national development. So that's the main story. They continue marking 5 years since the death of the president. Is that Boda Boda insured? How key rule is ignored? That's another story there. They're facing the same problems. Boda Boda accidents ni mengi sana kule. Kwa gazeti la Mwananchi, pigo jipya kwa serikali matokeo ya urais. Mahakama ya amuru katiba zifumuliwe kuruhusu uamuzi wa INEC ZEC kupingwa mahakamani. Serikali yapewa miezi 24. That thing that you cannot challenge the elections in Tanzania in court. Wanasema hapana. They ideally should be challenged. That's a positive move. In Uganda, the constitution has been amended kidogo, computer misuse. Hapa pia wanasema we need to look at 1-2 laws in as far as elections are concerned.
All right, tuangalie caricature, tuone cartoonist back home wanasema nini. And we start off with the one, the Daily Nation. There's what is currently happening in, I think this is Russia, yeah? Charge sheet terrorism, charge sheet treason, is it really?
No, it's about compensation.
Compensation, victims, protest victims.
Yes. So some of them were charged with treason.
Yeah.
Some of them were charged with terrorism.
So there's a dice here.
So the president is throwing a dice.
Compensate all, compensate some.
Will he compensate even those who are taken to court and charged? Yeah.
Because 2 billion shillings. Can it compensate everyone?
The promise was that they have actually the list of all people who should be compensated. But people are questioning, okay, your list iko wapi? And who came up with that list?
Yeah.
That's the question being raised by this cartoonist. There are those who are taken to court are they eligible for compensation as well?
All right, that's the one on the Daily Nation, but I know they say they're working with the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights and IPOA. So, yeah, the Star.
All right, the Star. This is a mambo ya Trump. Ameweka Donald Trump hapo na mitungi ya oil, and then he's saying SOS. Instead of save our souls, ni Strait of Oil Supply, Hormuz. And he's asking for help. Ameambia wale wengine kujeni, hata ni nyinyi mnasumbuliwa na hiyo kitu, chaneni na mimi. Yet is the one who started the war. That's a cartoon on the Star.
The one on the Standard, the president is in Western region. Projects wanasaviwa pale, kila mtu na sahani yake.
Mbona wanapewa tu ugali?
Bungoma. Ni ugali tu Bungoma, kuna Kakamega, kuna Vihiga na kuna Busia. Busia washapata yao. Next ni, I think leo ni Bungoma ama
wacha atembee huko tusikie atasema nini leo.
Leo ni kama atatulia.
Yeah. Finally on the People Daily, and I think siku hizi Stano anatumia technology sana. So kuna daktari na kuna mgonjwa pale kwa hospitali. Alafu the shelves pale wanaambiwa sorry, no medicine, sorry, Sha is dead. So the doctor is saying this country is more sicker than the patients. How can State House need more money than a referral hospital? Wow, that's Stano's take.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at the traffic situation in Nairobi, and I have all the major roads here. Right, that's how the major roads in the city look like, and you can already see the Pangani interchange building up. Where now the entire stretch of Thika Road is yellow, meaning that traffic is stretching as far back as areas past Lamada, past Mathari Hospital, past kuna ile stretch nyingine pale Rosters, another long stretch of red all the way from Kasarani past Garden City Mall towards KCA University. And even after that, as you get closer to Githurai, there's another stretch of red I'd seen earlier after Ruiru. Watu wa Thika Road leo mnaumia. Yes, I can see there's a long stretch of red kule Kahawa Sukari. Yes, you can see it there. So Thika Road quite busy this morning. Naona pale Outer Ring Road, there's a problem pale for those using Kangundo Road. That roundabout is very busy. As you come from areas like Komarok and Kayole, getting onto Outer Ring Road. It's getting very busy this morning. The other busy road I saw, yes, Kangundo Road, both sides of the road, wale wanaenda Njiru pia ni wengi, sio wachache. Let's take a look at the Eastern Bypass, all the way from Utawala, past KQ. As you head towards City Cabanas, long stretches of red and yellow. So even those who are using Eastern Bypass towards Mombasa Road are not having it easy. So Thika Road and Eastern Bypass quite busy. Jogoo Road too is looking a bit busy around areas around Makadara, from that junction from Buruburu all the way to Likoni Road. After that, it's a bit easier getting to town, and the CBD is not looking so bad at this time of day. On the western side of the city, talking about roads like Ngong Road, Southern Bypass, Langata Road, even Wayakiwe all the way into town, it's looking green, so not so bad. But Thika Road, Jogoo Road and Outer Ring Road, poleni sana.
All right, that's the traffic in Nairobi.
All right, so immediately after the break, we'll be having State of the Nation with Senators Danson Mungatana and Joe Nyutu of Tana River and Murang'a counties, respectively. They'll be here alongside political commentator Mesha Kodede. Hiyo banta ya rais na wengine. Big discussion there. Later on the show, Stephen Moli, chairperson Kepro Board, will be in studio for that discussion on Global Recycling Day.
Interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, or next at TV47 Digital. Anodida is my handle.
Mine is at Fred Indimuli. Remember to use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. right, good morning and welcome back. This is a Morning Cafe on TV 47 with me, Fred Ndimuli. And time for us to take a look at the dailies. Of course, all the dailies are just talking about the exchanges between the president and the leaders of the opposition. But before we get to that conversation, there's one more thing that happened. Yesterday, the membership of the ODM party from Nairobi came together and made some curious pronouncements. One, that they're pushing for Winnie Odinga, the daughter of the late former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, to occupy a deputy party leader's position in the party. This is actually ahead of the NDC that is slated for next week. Let's get a feel of what was said during that meeting.
Ati wananikaribisha nyumbani. Ati wananikaribisha. Nilienda wapi bana? Utawasemea labda wanafikiri nilienda Arusha. Hiyo ni kazi tu. Hiyo ni mambo ya yala. Mimi hii chama, hii nyumba yetu, hii nyumba ambayo tulijenga, hii nyumba ambayo babangu alijenga.
Kama wajumbe wa Nairobi tumesema tuongezewe nafasi ya deputy party leaders wakuwa wanne, Winnie akiwa mmoja wao. Na wengi watauliza kwani hii ni chama ya family? Winnie Odinga na Oburu Oginga ni watu wawili tofauti. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Tena yeye ni gender. Kwa hivyo sisi tunachukua Winnie kwa nafasi ya baba Raila Amolo Odinga.
Na all these times tumekuwa tukienda maandamano. Watu wa Nairobi wamekuwa wakienda maandamano. Hakuna maandamano ushago. Imekuwa hapa Nairobi. So kwa hivyo, when it comes to party positions, those that have put their lives on the line should be the first people to be considered for party positions.
Amesema hakuna maandamano ushago, so the members of the party in urban areas should have more say. Anyway, that's what we want to discuss, and with me this morning is political commentator Meshak Odede. Karibu sana Meshak. So definitely the Nairobi membership of ODM party has just thrown a spanner in the works days to the NDC. We knew this NDC was going to be a problem. How much of a challenge do you think this now demand will present to the party?
Thank you, Fred. One, I don't see it as a challenge. I just see it as one of the many things that every political party at some point has to deal with. But two things are coming out from the clip you've just played. And unfortunately, I was not in that meeting, but this is my take. My sister Winnie would say things like, Ushago hakuna maandamano, but we all know there has been a lot in other regions, even with those maandamano. I come from Migori, and I can tell her, sometimes that bridge that is now having a problem with waters was not passable at any given point for any maandamano that was happening. So that is Ushago for me. And I have seen Kisumu, for example. For over a long time, there has been a lot going on in Kisumu, Homa Bay, and all these other places, including the coastal region. There are places that really went out. So again, it is okay to justify a position like Nairobi having a solid support for the party and wanting to be represented in the party. You get it a little bit easier when you have a surname like this, or when you don't have a surname like that.
Okay.
That begins to be a problem morally, but not legally.
All right. Allow us to take a short break. We'll be right back to continue. Okay, we can continue with this, yes. But even for Winnie Odinga to occupy the position of a deputy party leader at ODM, we already have 3 deputy party leaders. This would necessitate an amendment to the party constitution. Don't you think that 4 deputy party leaders by any means surely dilutes even the leadership structure?
Not really. I don't even think the constitution of the party bars the 4th deputy. It can be. The only problem is the criteria by which we reach these decisions sometimes poses a challenge, which I again would say is not legally, but not everything that is legal is morally okay. We have to build a perception, and I am a supporter that ODM must really consider having the youth within the leadership of the party, and this could be that time. You see, what will be in the mind of many people is that my sister Winnie was fighting for this position, because at some point you have seen her saying, many people are telling her, Karibu nyumbani, welcome home, meaning you are lost.
You were never here.
Wherever you are, we considered you lost.
Yes.
But now that you are here with us, we consider, we welcome you, we welcome you. And she's rebuting that don't say welcome home. I've always been here, yes, and I'm never gonna be anywhere. So for me, that shows by the time you're now given the deputy party leader, it looks like wherever you are that we were talking about, you are fighting to get a position, and now we have given you, and this is why.
Let's talk about that other place that probably people think she was in. Yeah. And I'm sure you're talking about the Linda Mwananchi movement.
Of course.
Led by Sifuna. Of course,
whatever people are lingering with.
Yes. Yeah. But the issue is, she came out and defended Sifuna when many party leaders were against him and whatever he stood for.
Yeah.
And that was seen as being rebellious to the structure of the party, even to her own uncle, who is now the party leader.
Yeah.
Do you think that her getting a deputy party leader position in the party could in some way ensure that this mistrust persists with her at such a high level in the party leadership?
Much as Winnie was out in the open defending Sifuna and the likes of Babu and any other in that group, it should not be lost to the party members and maybe the Kenyan at large that the person who actually sparked this serious conversation was Winnie Odinga. In Mombasa, at the tail end of the ODM at 20 celebrations, after the burial of Jacom, Winnie comes out. After the ODM party structures gives Dr. Oburu Odinga opportunity to lead the party as we head towards 2027 general election, Winnie comes out and Winnie says, this broad-based was only trusted, Kenyans trusted one man with this broad-based arrangement. It's a complicated, that is in her words, it's a complicated marriage. It does not require anybody. And those who have taken it upon themselves to lead it, I think we should go back to the people and find out who can. This is what actually sparked the whole conversation, even before Sifuna.
Even the demand for the NDC.
Yeah, even before Sifuna was in the middle of all this. It is Madam Winnie Odinga that her statement is what now people were either aligning to or against. And so Sifuna found himself much aligned and almost ran away with.
So you feel that Winnie Odinga is probably one of the biggest factors as we head towards this NDC, that as much as people have been talking about Sifuna and the Linda Mwananchi crew, it's Winnie Odinga that people should be watching even more.
People should watch, of course. She's been part of the party. She's been with the late Raila Odinga, her father, for a long time. But the tricky bit is whether you are given a position because people really trust that you have something and you're the one who can take the party, or you're being given a position because sympathy is all over you and everybody feels like offending you would feel evil, or not giving you what you want would feel evil. That is different from when we think Fred is actually the person to take us to the next level as a party. So it is upon her to check that even as people talk about me occupying this position, from what part of their heart is this coming from? Is it coming from appeasing me because I was getting lost, this will guide me to stay here? Or is it from the perspective that I just lost Jacom, who is my father, and people are now looking at me with sympathies? Or is it because they actually look at me and think this man or woman has what it takes to take our party to the next level? And so it's a bit tricky. If I were her, I would think about all that and actually come to terms with what it is.
There's something that's coming out, and as we even approach the NDC, it's about 8 days from today. And as we get closer and closer to the day, we're getting a lot more statements that starts with me or I from most members of ODM. We know what the people from the coast are demanding. We now see George Aladwa, and we know what he wants in Nairobi. Now Winnie Odinga, who's even said to be eyeing a position, probably an elective position in Nairobi as well. Do you feel that personal interests could cloud the NDC?
Not could, will cloud the NDC, and that is happening to any other political party. When you get to NDC, this is when everybody wants to see the benefit of maybe the kind of work they have put in the party, the kind of support they have given to the party, the loyalty they have shown for a long time. This is the time to reap some benefit, even for personal. So people are going to go for positions that will strategically put them in a pole position to either get the party ticket for whatever seat you want to run. Because if you are deputy party leader, you are 70% ahead of other contestants for that particular seat.
And you might just get a direct ticket.
Even if it is not direct, but you have a way of influencing how you can get this.
Who would challenge a deputy party leader for a ticket?
Some people will, but of course they also know, even as we challenge this, our chances are still way below. If I am, for example, Secretary General of a political party, and the party tickets are ready, whoever is competing with me in that particular constituency has it in their mind that I am 2 steps ahead of them in terms of who can easily get that ticket. So basically, in the NDC is where people now bring the interest, personal interest, to strategically stay in a pole position against anybody you are going to compete in a constituency, county, or wherever. And this is not just people who are vying, even people who are, not people who are going for the position, even other people in the party feel like if I know Fred, I should push Fred even to the party leader so that if tomorrow I'm vying in my constituency, he can as well help me get my hands to that ticket. So sometimes it is not direct, but even indirect. If I have you as Secretary General and you're closer to me, I am likely to reach out to you when I have a problem with getting the party ticket.
Now, of course, we're seeing now the regional stances. Nairobi have come out clearly and said that they are going for deputy party leader position. The Coast Region now is demanding for the party leader's position as well. Do you think that could also be a huge factor?
It is a huge factor. Of course, Nairobi have all the rights to demand for a serious position, but this is because also it is possible that Secretary General might be lost from Nairobi. It used to be Nairobi because Sifuna was Nairobi, senator, and a delegate in Nairobi. So if that is lost to another county or another part of the country, then Nairobi would be justified to look for another position. And fortunately, they have thought about a deputy. We will see, but they are justified. They are justified to look for a serious position as Nairobi.
In the papers, they are even suggesting that George Aladwa wants the Secretary General's position. Is it a done deal that Sifuna will not be attending the NDC?
Sifuna will attend the NDC. I still believe. Yes,
because
only that he won't get what he wants. But he will attend.
Maintain his position as SG. There were indications that there could be a parallel NDC. Any news on that?
There is nothing like parallel NDC. The registrar of political parties have got everything legislated. So what we can consider it as a parallel, but the law will not consider it anywhere. So there is no parallel NDC at the end of the day.
All right, so the NDC for the ODM party is coming up on the 27th of this month. Let me say much anticipated National Delegates Convention. Even as we continue that conversation, allow me to welcome these two gentlemen, Senator Dr. Danson Mungatana, Senator Tana River County, and Joe Nyutu, Senator Murang'a County. Gentlemen, karibuni sana.
Asante.
We're just talking about ODM, but allow us to finish this one because the NDC is coming. There's also the issue of selection of delegates.
Yes.
Many people have questioned, okay, fine, yes, we're going there, we'll be haggling over positions here and there, but we're not so sure how these delegates were selected. Is there a system within the party that ensures the integrity of the delegate selection?
I think that person probably might not have been around. ODM for almost a year has been running the grassroots elections, and I think the last one was concluded like a month ago. And that is the process, how delegates are found for the party. So the party conducting grassroots elections in all constituencies and all wards across the country ends up with delegates, and delegates are not some unique people. They are people who, some of them are holding positions at the grassroots, like chairs, women leaders, youth league, and all that, all the way from wards coming to the constituency, to the county, and to the national level. So that is how delegates of the party are.
March 27th is a big day, the National Delegates Convention of the ODM party. A lot will be discussed there. The Nairobi grouping of ODM members are demanding the deputy party leader's position, and they wanted to go to none other than Winnie Odinga, the daughter of the late Raila Odinga. Well, that is just ODM and the happenings there. At least that features on the front pages. It's there on the front page of the Daily Nation. Winnie backed for Oburu's deputy post and the questions therein. But the big conversation today is the banter, or call it exchanges, between the president and members of the opposition. Gloves are off. That's the front page of the Daily Nation. And presidential, that's the front page of the Standard. When it comes to Taifa Leo, anasema nini? Anasema hapa, Rais achemka. This is what we'll be looking at after the break with my panelists. So let's take a break. You're watching Morning Cafe. We'll be right back. Yes, welcome back. You're still watching Morning Cafe on TV40 with me, Freddie, with the political commentator Mesha Kodede and Senators Dr. Danson Mungatana, Senator Tana River, and Nyutu, Senator Muranga. Now, I want to talk about what's pages of the dailies today, and those are the exchanges we are getting, heightened exchanges between President William Ruto and members of the opposition, primarily his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua. And the exchanges have become sharp, vitriolic, and very personal. But this is where it started, when the former deputy president said something. Let's listen to this.
Unataka pesa ngapi? Lakini uzuri hapa akiwa na hiyo pesa yote halali. Si umeona amekonda mpaka masikio imekuja juu. Hii mtu ako na mabilioni ya pesa, lakini hala.
Yesterday, President William Ruto took the opportunity to respond directly to those claims.
Jana nilisikia wale majamaa ati wanasema si unaona Ruto unaona vile amekonda Sasa mimi niwaulize Kakamega hoye. Sasa mimi ni mtu niko na akili, najua wakati wa kupunguza ndio niweze kuconcentrate, najua vile ya kwenda gym, najua vile ya kupunguza chakula. Sasa mimi nataka niwaulize, mkiona wale majamaa si waende wajiangalie kwa kioo? Wale majamaa waende wajiangalie kwa kioo. Tumbo karibu inararua shati, kichwa karibu inapasuka. Mimi nawaambia tafadhali endeni kwa gym, punguza ratili yenu.
Well, that attracted a reaction from Jubilee Deputy Party Leader Fred Matiang'i. This is what he had to say.
Mimi sijui kwa nini unasumbuka vile nakula, kwa sababu mimi sikuli kwa bibi yako. Ujaniona nikienda kutafuta chakula kwa bibi yako ama kwa watu wako. Mimi nakula ndizi kule Kisii kwetu. Tuzungumzie kukula kweli. Tumbo lisilo shiba inajulikana ni nini Kenya hii. Sasa unataka tuende kwa huyo mjadala badala ya kuzungumzia shida ya Wakenya.
Presidential decorum versus right of reply. That is where the dailies today are making comparison. On the Standard, they say it is unpresidential for the president to make such claims, to talk in such a manner about any leader. But it should be noted that even the opposition leaders threw the first jab. So, should the head of state rise above personal attacks, even when provoked? Senator Danson Mungatana, you've been in this business for a while. And you know that when you get closer to elections, such attacks are there. Sometimes they get very personal. We've had, you worked for President Mwai Kibaki, and he was known to use some words, maybe not against people directly, but should we see this as unpresidential, the way it's been described on the front page of the Standard?
No, I think Standard should be the last newspapers for us to gauge ourselves against. The same newspaper would not say anything against a person who uses the pulpit, a place where God is worshipped, and not at the back of the pulpit, but in front of the pulpit, with pastors seated behind smiling approvingly. I think that is desecration of a holy place. You know, say what you want to say, but say it outside, not in a holy place. And I want to say that newspapers that take stands like this, I think should be judged from the face where they belong, because it seems as we are going on into these elections, media houses are going to take sides. And this is a stark example of what is happening here. And I want to say this. It has been continuous. The president has been saying, not once, not twice, address the issues, address the issues, address the issues. They don't. They go for him. Oh, Kasongo what, oh, Kasongo what. Now, just let me give you background. If you know President Ruto, and you know, like I could say, we've been around for a while, even in past parliaments, you know, even when the parliament gym was underground, not the current one. He was a very avid attender, including the late Honorable Raila and many other, Kina Henry Kosgei, Kina Mudi Awori. We were all there. So when he says these things, he's also just saying to give advice to some people. This politics is not a joke. It's a fatherly advice. You may not take it nicely, but it's a fatherly advice. Politics is not a joke. It's
is it
not
presidential?
a walk.
Because I know you've gone hard on the standard, but forget about the paper itself. The question is, and this is the issue they raised, whatever the president's, the kind of words he used, the demeanor he had, was it presidential? Probably even compared to other presidents. You worked under Mwai Kibaki, you've worked with Uhuru Kenyatta, and President Moi was there. Is what President Ruto doing now presidential?
First of all, President Kibaki and President Moi, these were old presidents, okay? And maybe because of age and many years in service and so on and many things, these were old presidents. And people who are old behave in a certain manner, okay? But Uhuru Kenyatta was fairly young in his time, and many times he would come off, because when he's annoyed, he would say one or two things that people would say they are not presidential. But he was just reacting to a situation. So, same. Why should we put a different standard for President Ruto and a different standard for President Uhuru? I think, let us be real. When someone starts body shaming you in a holy place, in a place with pastors smiling behind him, and it is nothing, and it's not the first time, you're repeating it again and again. And many times I'm trying to tell you, look, we have issues big for the nation. Try and focus on what is the mission here. Push another agenda. You keep on coming. So there's a saying in Kiswahili, unarusha mawe polisi na mbio huna. When you start these things, be prepared also.
Okay.
Don't now stand behind and start saying, oh, I fight.
Senator Nyutu, your party leader threw the first jab. And as Senator Mugatana says, yes, he was somewhere in a church. He described the president in terms that the president feels were a bit unpalatable. A right of reply, shouldn't the president be able to do that?
Thank you, Fred. And you know, politics is a very interesting game. Because I've listened to my colleague and friend, Senator Mugatana, say that, of course, he restricted himself to the right of the president, the right of reply for the president. But looking at it, I mean, you say my party leader threw the first jab. What did he say?
He talked about how the president looks.
Yes, but you know...
He named some body parts.
Yes, you know, what was the context? You know, what he did, because I was present at that particular function, he talked about the many, you know, acquisitions that President Ruto has made. You know, how he has amassed wealth in obscene ways. And then he said, and that was a concluding remark, that with all these, the president does not sleep. And that's why probably in Rigiji's assessment that his health was not very good because of lack of sleep. And everybody knows that when somebody does not sleep well, or you do not get enough sleep, then of course your health also gets affected. So the issue was, you know, the many businesses and the many things that the President Ruto is doing to enrich himself. And there is a whole list of that. So Rigathi Gachagua was just wondering how much can be enough. If you are still looking for money, you do not even get time to sleep, which has even affected your health. So that now you become somebody who looks like they do not eat, you know? Those were the issues. Just a minute, Fred. But looking at President Ruto's reaction yesterday, he avoided the issues completely. The issue was about amassing wealth. The issue was about going to every other sector and sometimes even kicking people out just to take their businesses. Those were the issues. The president avoided the issue. The president just took one issue of how his facial looks are these days, which Rigathi Gachagua attributed to obscene acquisition of wealth. You know, the issue was how much is enough. But the president restricted himself to that particular statement. It was a concluding remark. The president should have addressed the issues because there is an issue that had been raised. Then the president went, I mean, for me, I can tell you, as a mere senator, I cannot go that low. You know, saying somebody slept with some girls and later killed them. Come on, President Ruto must be reminded that he is the president of Kenya. He is not a tout somewhere in a particular stage where they engage in mchongoano. This is the president of Kenya. If he knows anybody who slept with a girl and then killed them, President Ruto should call the DCI to his office and offer himself as a witness and make a statement and say whom this particular person was. And he repeated again that people are brainless. Because he's the only person who has brains, he should just call the DCI and tell them, you know, everybody else does not have brains. It's only me that has brains. And so I was able to supervise the act when this particular person was sleeping with this particular girl. I was there. I supervised because they do not have brains. They would not have been able to do it. And this is how this particular girl was killed. That would help. President Ruto cannot lament and accuse people of killings while he has not done anything. For him, when we accuse him of killings, when we talk about Kiambaa charge, this was something that was a subject of ICC into after 2007, 2008. Now, when he talks about killings, and nobody was ever taken to court, and he's not willing to give any account, any statement. I mean, what is he doing? He's behaving like everybody else, like that tout in a stage.
Quite for a while.
Can I say something? Yes, he has been here telling us about ODM. There's a Kiswahili saying that mkuki mtamu kwa nguruwe, lakini mchungu kwa binadamu. Every time this person stands to speak, he's no longer Riggy G, he's Riggy Mouth. He mouths things that he cannot substantiate in any way. You stand up there and tell people that, oh, this person owns this, owns that, owns that. We all know where the Register of Companies is located. We all know that, in fact, the law has been changed to declare any person who owns anything, beneficial ownership now is recorded. I want to challenge Riggy Mouth to come out and tell us exactly who are the beneficial ownerships in these companies that he claims are owned by the president. He should know that, you know, there is a limit to some of these things. And if he wants us to roll in the mud, we shall roll with him. You know, there's this thing that people think that it's okay to abuse the senator, it's okay to abuse the governor, it's okay to abuse the president, because they will never answer you back. No.
Have we sunk that low?
At some point, you need to know, I'm a human being. You cannot continue telling lies against me.
But lies have always been told about many presidents. And then when you tell lies,
choose your place. Don't stand in church so that you look more believable. And then you have a list and the pastors are smiling. That was incredibly wrong.
The president is already rattled. You can see he is clearly angry. This is 16 months to the next election. But in comparison to other previous elections, presidents have been accused of so many things. Words have been used that are not very palatable. Have we ever sunk this low?
Fred, this is my take about this political banter. One, I want to disagree a little bit with Senator Mungatana on one thing. President is president, whether he is asleep or awake, in the morning, in the evening. And there's this puts president in a very tricky situation, according to me, because you are looking at this kind of politics before, because the human anthropology will teach us that nothing is new under the sun. Such a thing must have happened before, either in your country or other countries. But then what was the result? So number one, the president is in a very tight situation because at some point he did almost the same thing with the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, and Uhuru Kenyatta did nothing and kept saying, nyinyi mnaweza endelea kutangatanga, mimi am focused to work for the people, and did not throw all that. And Uhuru Kenyatta went ahead and lost because the people from the mountain believed everything the way it was said, and we both know they were lies, and that is how he won. So maybe he's learning from that same mistake and saying, I'm not going to listen the way the other one listened. So that is one. But again, when you rebuttal, it takes away a lot from you than it takes from the other person, because at the end of the day, the people of Kenya would look at both of you and say, this is not the debate we want. Neither you or him fit to be here. But then when we get to that point, you are the one who loses as the president because you are the one who occupies that position. The other one has not occupied the position, only one seat. So when the Kenyans come out and say, all of you are not fit, the one who has lost is not the other one. It is you who is already on that seat. Yes. So this, according to me, puts the president in a very tight situation. Yes. Because if he rebuttals with the same breath, it looks like both of you Kenyans will come out and say, neither you or you are fit.
And curiously,
so
all
that,
these people
that means you are already losing as the president.
You're either the president or you want to be president.
Yeah, but again, if you don't rebuttal, you are looking at the past and you're realizing this is how it started, it went like that, and people actually went ahead and believed that anything dynasty is a bad thing. Right. So coming from a dynasty family is bad. And that is how he won.
Let's listen to more of what the president said in rebuttal, if we may use that word, to some of the accusations from the leaders of the opposition on issues to do with the criminal nature. These are when he talked about murder and theft. Let's listen.
Lakini hata kitu moja amefanya haionekani. Hata barabara ya kwenda kwake mimi ndio najenga saa hii. Huyo mjamaa ati ile kazi kubwa amefanya akafaulu. Ati ni kuiba shamba ya NYS akaenda akajenga nyumba yake. Huyo ni mtu mpuzi sana bana. Ati wanajaribu mimi.
Told the people of Kenya that there was a great plan to steal Nairobi Hospital by William Ruto. A private hospital, he wanted to take it over, and we called him out. And his minister said it will not be interfered with because it's a private hospital.
Si tunasikia huyo jamaa anaongea ati mambo ya wizi. Si mnasikia ati anasema ati kuna wizi. Mimi nataka niwaulize. Huyo mjamaa, si yeye alienda kwa kitanda ya ndugu yake? Kitanda ya ndugu yake akiwa mgonjwa. Akaenda akabadilisha wili ya ndugu yake ili kunyima haki yao mayatima na wale wajane. Alafu anakuja hapa kuongea ya kwamba wizi. Wewe ambaye unaibia mjane, unamuibia yatima, unaibia ndugu yako akikufa kwa kitanda, wewe unatuambia mambo ya wizi sangapi? Don't tell us about theft. You are a cold-blooded thief. One who caused to manipulate the will of his brother to disinherit his children and widows. And you want to tell us about theft. A man who steals from the dead, a man who steals from widows. You want to tell us you are going to lead. You are going to lead nothing. You are going to lead nowhere. You are going to lead no community. You are going to lead no nation.
The president is definitely rattled, but it also calls to question the role of the opposition. Is it just to provoke the president? In a rebuttal yesterday, I think Rigathi Gachagua said, tumekukasirisha, hiyo ndo kazi yetu. Is that the best they can do? 16 months to elections, as you say, there are so many issues people should be discussing. Simply provoking this kind of reaction Should that be the role of the opposition?
You know, Fred, we are trivializing this debate. And I want to still stick to what I said in my opening remarks, that Rigathi Gachagua has raised issues. What he said is that if, when you bring to light your attempt to steal, will rattle you, then we will be more than happy to rattle you. He has not said that he is going to rattle the president from nothing or for nothing. He has said, anytime you scheme to steal anything from Kenya, we are going to bring it to light so that we can rattle you. And we have no other job other than, you know, exposing your schemes. And if that rattles you, we are ready to do it for the next 15 months. So I insist that the president did not address any issue that was raised by Rigathi Gachagua. He, of course, went on the rampage. And I want to repeat what my friend Meshaka said. That, and Senator Mungatana, my friend, has also said, mkuki ni kwa nguruwe, kwa binadamu ni mchungu. President Ruto, you know, he should know that whatever you do to other people will be done to you. Nobody rattled President Uhuru more than President Ruto himself. President Ruto is somebody who insulted, Moses Wetangula one day, when, because it is public, when Moses Wetangula reportedly went to Langata police station to report a beating from his wife. And the president then made a lot of fun about Moses Wetangula. In fact, I pity Wetangula when I see him now praising President Ruto. President Ruto thought that he is the only one who could talk about other people. And that is, by the way, that is his character. He thinks that, you know, other people have no feelings, that he is the only, other people have no brains, and he says that quite often. He is the one that has the monopoly of knowledge, the monopoly of michongoano. Now he should know he is president. He is not a deputy president or any other person. He is president. When he says that somebody stole from his brother and the widows and that kind of thing, I mean, this is the president of Kenya. When he's lamenting out there like everybody else, I mean, he is the one that is supposed to see to it. He swore to protect the Constitution. If anybody has done anything unconstitutional, the president should know what to do. He should not go on car roofs and start lamenting with the people of Kakamega. I mean, this is a shame. The president, what did he tell the people of Kakamega? Apart from, you know, telling people about how people look like, the issues have been raised. He has not addressed any one of them. And, you know, when President Ruto keeps talking about Kalonzo Musyoka, you know, some of us pity him, actually. We do not sometimes even get annoyed. We pity him. He says that Kalonzo Musyoka did not build a road. He said it yesterday. He has said it so many times that Kalonzo Musyoka did not build a road to his home. I mean, what is President Ruto telling Kenyans? Mm-hmm. That when you get an opportunity to serve, that you serve yourself first before you serve the people of Kenya? I mean, what does it mean? That Fred, today, that you qualify to be president, or the best president is one who will, you know, of course, divert public resources to build a road to his home before he thinks about other people. In fact, by saying that he's campaigning for Kalonzo Musyoka, and I think I would also want to campaign for Kalonzo Musyoka, then Kalonzo Musyoka can come and say, which is true, that you say, if you give me the position of president or any position of authority, I will serve you first before I even think about us. You know, when he says that Kalonzo Musyoka stole NYS land, what has he done as president to see to it that then Kalonzo Musyoka returns that land to NYS, which is a public institution? And President Ruto should be the last person. He has no moral authority, by the way, to talk about theft, especially theft of land. Because we know there has been a court case where he had stolen some land from a neighbor, I think in Rift Valley. I may not know exactly where the court ordered or made a ruling that he returns the same part of land. This is the owner of Weston Hotel, which attempted to grab public land from Langata Road Primary School. I mean, President Ruto can talk about other things. He can even say people have no brains, but he has no moral authority to talk about killings, to talk about theft, especially theft of land. He should be the last person. Let him address issues. He is the president of Kenya. Let him report to the DCI.
It's a valid challenge that the president had the best opportunity to answer with regard to some of the accusations about probably business issues and stuff like that. Instead, he chose to answer something else. Don't you think that the president even is missing the point there?
They were non-issues. Have you ever listened to Rigathi Gachagua talking? He raises no issues. He talks a lot of hot air, you know? You know that the Companies Act is very clear. You have registered owners and beneficial owners. You need to present something that we can respond to. If you cannot if you cannot present anything, that's a non-issue. So he raised no issue, and I want to repeat again. He raised no issue worth repeating. And then the one issue he raised about Nairobi Hospital, you know, these issues are very factual. This hospital is an old hospital which used to treat only Europeans. It was called the European Hospital. And this hospital, the person who was made the chair or the patron was the then Governor General, who was called Evelyn Baring, during colonial time. After the colonialists left, it was Jomo Kenyatta. And subsequent to that, all the presidents became patron. Now, you can be the patron of Agricultural Society of Kenya. You know, you can be the patron of any organization. You can be the patron of a hospital. And then, if I have given my name to a very big organization, and I can clearly see that there are allegations that someone went and picked this amount of money so that they can treat an insurance company in a favorable way. There are allegations of a criminal nature, and it is my organization. I need to do something. Maybe the previous presidents were all hands off. They didn't want to get involved in the issues that are affecting Nairobi Hospital. But Nairobi Hospital now is not the Nairobi Hospital of yesteryear.
Shouldn't this be what the president is explaining to Kenyans?
No. These are facts that everyone knows. That the Nairobi Hospital now is not the Nairobi Hospital of yesteryears. This one is where even, you know, presidents, deputy presidents from various countries within the region come for treatment, and it's going down. Senior doctors have approached you, and he has explained himself that there is need to do something. This is not a hands-off thing. So he says, let investigations be done. He didn't go there and say, you do this, do that. He said, investigations be done on the request of senior doctors. But what does Rigimouth say? He stands up and says, in a church, that, you know, he wants to take over Nairobi Hospital. He wants to be the owner of Nairobi Hospital. You know, and you're saying it in settings that you make other people believe that what you're saying is true. If I'm a Christian, even when I'm in church, I don't use, when I go to my county, I never stand where the pulpit is. I will stand somewhere down, a bit far from the pulpit. And I know that my words have to be measured when I'm in that holy place. And you see, even in church, there is a holy place and there are holies of holies. That place in front, you need to treat it with respect. And Grigiji needs to be told.
Is there a limit
if he
to the
doesn't
kind of words?
know that he needs to limit himself. You cannot stand up without any evidence.
Talking of limits.
And start claiming that the president is taking over Nairobi Hospital. To what benefit?
Senator,
and then goes, let me finish, goes further to say there are hospitals which are being killed so that the president can benefit.
That is just one of the issues, Senator.
But
But is there a limit to the kind of words that politicians can use? That there are lines that cannot be crossed, especially when it comes to issues about family? Or is it a free-for-all, that you can, simply because you're in politics, you can attack someone's marriage, someone's family without consequence? Is there a limit?
There's something I need to tell you, Fred. We may be in different camps between myself and Mheshimiwa Nyutu here, but there is an unwritten code. I cannot meet him and leave him if he's in distress or his family is in distress or there is a problem. It's an unwritten bro code. That is why you would see that even when things were very, very difficult for the Odinga family, Jaramogi talked to President Moi and said, my son, you know, I want my son out. And Moi made it possible for that to happen. There's an unwritten bro code that we will not, you know, for example, I would never want to talk about his wife. You know, there's lines that are created that you don't cross, okay? He will obviously never talk about my wife and things like that. But you see, here we are dealing with a person who seems to have no regard for any bro code, for any existing customs and norms. A person who goes on...
But when it comes to attacking families, I've not heard the DCP party leader attacking the president's family.
No. My friend, the way this man has come, not just in this one, this person is unhinged. And he has made himself clear that he will say anything to unrattle the president. So from where I sit, Fred, we are dealing with a person who has no regard for rules, no regard for bro code. He can tell lies in church without any fear,
because
without any reverence.
Some of what the president said was not just about the DCP party leader. He talked about someone else who, using his words, amekodesha bibi. Even as he talked about someone else impregnating young girls. Let's listen to the president, even as we discuss the limits that politicians should have. And the senator said rightly, yes, there are lines that ideally should not be crossed.
Wanasema ati mambo ya mauaji. Si wanasema ati mambo ya mauaji. Mimi nataka niulize huyo jamaa. Wewe, mungwana, jua wewe mimi najua maneno. Wewe umeenda ukatia mimba watoto wawili watoto rika ya watoto wako, alafu hawa watoto ukawaua, alafu unatuambia mambo ya mauaji. Muuaji ni nani? Ni huyo mshenzi, si huyo mshenzi? Ni huyo mkabila ama si huyo mkabila?
Mambo imeandikwa na bloggers ya Madera for 2 years. Content ya bloggers ndio wanachukua kuambia Wakenya. Hiyo Kasongo, if you had a working intelligence system, they would have informed you. Hiyo propaganda unaongea leo imeongewa mwaka mbili and wananchi have ignored because it's nonsense. Wewe unasema ati watu wameua watu. Tukianzia Kiambaa Church 2007, Gen Z kupiga watoto risasi mguu, mambo ya mauaji. Wakenya ukiuliza hii, Wakenya wote wanajua mambo ya mauaji.
And I was looking for that clip, and I think we'll get it later, when he talked about someone else apart from Rigathi Gachagua, and he was referring to someone else who comes from that region, Western Kenya. Someone probably who has not attacked the president directly that way. But talking about family, and the senator put it correctly, that there are lines that should not be crossed simply because of politics, that we may differ on ideas and so many different things, but attacking someone's family directly, the very personal attacks, we should not be going there. Do you think the president has crossed that line? And now he's attracting the kind of probably even possible attacks on his family as well?
For someone who has been here for some little time, I think these lines have been crossed even way before. Do you remember, Fred, in the election of 2022, when William Ruto, before he became president, was telling Uhuru Kenyatta, don't kill my children? I mean, what assertions were those? And now it is still continuing. So for me, it is neither here nor there whether the president has crossed the line. I mean, everybody has just crossed the line. And we are practicing very bad politics in the country. Just the other day, you see those documentaries. People are actually able to talk about how they rigged elections And it is normal. Like, it looks like we should actually clap for you that you did well, and nobody does anything. So when you see these attacks, and then now you see the issues coming out like so-and-so did what, so-and-so did what, and nothing has been done about it, and nothing seems to be happening around that. It means what we are fixing in the minds of young people who are getting into politics, that it is only in politics that you are safe. Once you step foot in and you are a mheshimiwa, nothing will happen to you. You can actually do a lot of these other things. Because from a common man perspective, I know such things cannot be said about me and I am left alone to go my way. Maybe I would not even find my way out of the gates of this studio if such a thing was said, I have done this. Because even on social media, people will just tag DCI, and DCI will be arresting you immediately, even from those social media posts. If people start tagging DCI and say, Meshach has done 1, 2, 3, 4, this and this and that, they will come for you even for questioning. But again, now because we are at the upper level of politics, I mean, people can say, so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that, you also did this, you also, and nothing happens. So we need to actually come to terms with the fact that the country is watching. And what we're looking for in 2027 are issues to be fixed. So like I said before, probably the president needs to do more, because behind every privilege there is responsibility. Maybe opposition do not know whether they have any responsibility because they are not in power. But there is someone who, when we go without food, will look at and realize this country is hungry. There is someone who, when capitation has not been sent, nobody asked Rigiji about that. People ask the president and those who are in power. So maybe that is just what presidents need to realize very fast, that I have more responsibility than the other team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Senator Nyutu, from your end, and from what Rigathi Gachagua said yesterday, it might be that you're seeing it as success, having successfully managed to rattle the president. That seeing him up his tone and shout himself hoarse, responding to such claims that probably, yes, he's definitely rattled. And that statement by your party leader that sasa hiyo ndio kazi yetu kukukasirisha. Do you think that that's the best way to go? That now that he's rattled, continue, and that since he has sunk low, go even lower? If it's personal attacks on family, should that be a line to be crossed, attacks on the president's family as well?
Fred, allow me first to say that I'm very disgusted with the way Senator Mungatana is referring to Rigathi Gachagua. I mean, I do not even want to repeat what he's calling him. But when you say somebody is mouthy, you cannot compare. If you are going to talk about people who talk too much, you cannot compare Rigathi Gachagua to President Ruto, whom Senator Mungatana supports. Because this is a president who is always on car roofs. In fact, sometimes I wonder, when does he even sit down to receive intelligence reports, you know, to do the meetings, to listen to his advisors? I mean, because this is somebody always on car roofs, every day, by the way, and this is unprecedented. And I don't know, and I would challenge Senator Mungatana to tell me one president in the world who is on car roofs every day and is a successful president, has been able to grow their country. Because what President Ruto does every day is mchongoano. And I want to disagree completely with Senator Mungatana's view about Nairobi Hospital. A patron, Fred, is a friend. A patron is not a manager. A patron is not an administrator. President Ruto's role as patron of Nairobi Hospital should be the role, I think I would liken it to a best man, to a best couple. I mean, if I have a best couple in my wedding, it does not mean that, you know, the best man can come and dictate how things happen in my family. He can only come as a friend and advise. Please, we must understand the role of, a patron, A patron is not the managing director. A patron is not the owner per se of a facility or any particular institution. This is just but a friend who can only advise. And then I don't know whether Senator Mugatana listened to Adan Duale, the CS for Health, the day before yesterday. He said that Nairobi Hospital, nobody is interested in taking up Nairobi Hospital because it's a private hospital. What does President Ruto say the following day, which is yesterday? He says this is a public hospital, and he admits that actually he's the one who ordered the arrests of some very respectable people from that particular facility. I mean, I don't know what Senator Mugatana would want to say about that. This is a president who has, as a patron, as a friend of the hospital, has ordered, using his powers, misuse of his, abuse of power. He has ordered the arrest of a very respected doctor, the deputy chair also of that particular facility. And that is where Rigathi Gachagua was saying that all these shenanigans are happening because he wants to take over the hospital. And that is the issue the president should have addressed. He is a patron. And so I think Senator Mugatana may want to differentiate between a patron. You'll get your time, Senator Mugatana, it's my time. To differentiate between a patron and a manager of a particular facility. Senator Mugatana says, and I agree with him completely, that there are those unwritten rules. I mean, I cannot attack your spouse, for example, or your children. And I want Senator Mugatana to challenge him to say any day that Rigathi Gachagua mentioned, the First Lady, Mama Rachel, or even the children of William Ruto. But I can tell of incidents where very close people to President Ruto have attacked Rigathi Gachagua's family. Nobody doesn't know what the majority leader, who is very close to Rigathi Gachagua, that is Kimani Ichung'wah, what he said about Pastor Dorcas one day. Nobody doesn't know what Sudi is saying about...
But that cannot be attributed to the president, can it?
But there are people who are very close to him, just a minute, and he has not, said anything. The president has not said anything to disown that line of thinking. And so we cannot, Senator Mugatana cannot present William Ruto as somebody who stands on the moral pedestal, while Rigathi Gachagua is saying Rigathi Gachagua is a very respectable person. He does not attack anybody's family.
Do you see it as a win from your end that the president is rattled by the statement?
No. We are only saying if he's getting rattled by Rigathi Gachagua raising issues, then we will rattle him more because we'll continue raising more issues, especially where he plans or he schemes to steal anything from the people of Kenya. Okay. We will be more than happy, and I have said that before, we'll be more than happy, and Rigathi Gachagua has said that he will be more than happy to expose all the schemes of stealing from the people of Kenya. And if that will rattle the president and even make him even lack sleep, then we'll be happy because we have raised issues that are important. And finally, because President Ruto, in the clip that you have played there, has said that somebody slept with the girls young enough to be his daughters. It is not reported anywhere. But President Ruto, it is in public domain. There is a girl that she impregnated, and he owned up. So President Ruto cannot talk about some things. By the way, sexual morality is something President Ruto cannot talk about because he impregnated a girl and it's in public domain. And he owned up. So when he says somebody has slept with any girl, where was it reported?
Okay.
Where was it reported? Where is he getting it? But for him, everything is in public domain. Yeah. And so let him not go that route. We are going to expose him even more.
Are you going to up the ante, go toe-to-toe with the president when he attacks family? Will you do that?
No, I think I'm more respectable than that. I cannot, for example, mention anything to do with the First Lady. I wouldn't, even if he talked about even if her husband talked about my wife, I wouldn't go down, sink that low. We will leave President Ruto to sink that low for the people of Kenya to see the type of person they elected as president.
Can I say something? Mm-hmm. Every presidential era is different from another presidential era. You must know that in this era, there's technology. You have these gadgets. You can hold a virtual meeting when you are in Kakamega in cabinet. You can be in Mombasa and hold a virtual meeting. You can talk to anybody wherever you are. But there are things, because of the lies, because of the misinformation and the lack of information, you have got to go to the people and explain to them. You know? For example, if the roads are being built, if the sugarcane reforms are being done, if the hospitals are being done, if the markets are being done, if the dams are being in Western Kenya, you want to go there in person and show the people that disregard the lies that are being churned by one person from the church. And I'm coming back to that again and again, that pastors need to surely do something about that. So I'm coming again. Somebody saying lies in church so that they can look more believable, you know? Now let's go to the role of, so definitely in this age, you need to be on site explaining to Kenya, and that does not affect your working capacity. And this man, maybe Honorable Nyutu does not know, but you can call many times and find him in the awake and working, even in times when most people are snoring. President Ruto has that capacity, and he knows that's why he has to get fit to do that kind of work. You cannot manage, and I understand when he says he cannot understand when he sits in the office. People work with their offices in these phones. And also, if you are a hardworking person, like I know he is, it is obvious. And for some of us, when you call him in some hours that are very difficult for everybody else to be awake, you will find him, and he is there doing things, answering your questions or pushing your things. Now let's go to this issue of Nairobi Hospital. He says that a patron is not supposed to do anything. He's supposed to be like a groom. But even a groom, a wedding, whatever, what are they called? The best man. But even a best man will tell you, my friend, keep time. My friend, this is how you treat your wife on your first date, assuming that you've never done anything before. My friend, this is how, a best man, in fact, is the person you go for advice. So advisory role for the patron is mandatory. Number two, a patron influences, he's an influencer. He opens doors for donors. He attracts the right things into the organization. If you are a patron for an orphanage and you are a highly respectable person, you'd attract donors. You would want to know also, you would visit the place, want to know what is happening. If the management tells you, by the way, the CEO in this place is stealing, there's loss of funds, there is mismanagement. As a patron, when you visit the orphanage and you see clearly that the children are not fed, yet you have attracted donors to the place, it is your responsibility. In fact, your duty to call to order when things are wrong. So I am very proud of a patron who is asking the hard questions. Nairobi Hospital, at some point, it was where everybody else would go. But then when you go there, now you are waiting for 1 hour. When you go there, you are being referred to, operations that should be carried there. When senior doctors like Dr. Silverstein are raising issues, you cannot ignore that, and you're the patron. If someone is telling you don't do anything, just see evil, see evil, hear evil, do nothing, then that is a management of the past. That is wrong, and we must take our positions to do something which is right for the society. Now, if I'm asking the questions, why are prices so high? If insurance companies are saying, no, if you go to Nairobi Hospital, we are not going to honor the obligations, because we know what is happening there. We know the overcharging. We know the things that are wrong. If even insurance companies that are supposed to cover are raising issues, senior doctors are coming to tell you, and you are the patron. You are the person who is supposed to be giving moral authority, moral advice, opening doors for donors, looking at what is right within the organization. It is irresponsible. And then somebody shoots his mouth out and says, no. When you are trying to fix things, you are trying to steal. For what purpose would I want to take Nairobi Hospital? I mean, for what purpose? So I would invite Kenyans to know the truth. I think sometimes it is good when these altercations happen so that you can know the truth. In fact, one thing I like about President Ruto, he confronts it and says, okay, let's have it. Okay. I'm the patron, and I've said this is the right thing to do.
It is a quality of exchange. It is a quality of exchange that we're worried about. Yes, there are real issues that need to be addressed, but the issue of decorum, and we're back to that question, and the kind of impact it has on voters, this kind of exchanges. So let's have one more of what we've been talking about. Then I come and we get our final, we make our final remarks. What the president said about the opposition yesterday.
Sema ati wao hawataki maono, hawataki agenda, hawataki mpango, ati agenda yao ni mimi, William Ruto. Sasa kama munasema mimi ndio agenda yenu, karibuni, niko tayari. Tutapambana na nyinyi. 99% of the time nitafanyia kazi wa Kenya. 1% of the time nitadeal na nyinyi.
Sasa Kasongo, nimeona ukiongea, wacha nikuambie. Wewe Kasongo, nimekuambia sisi na wewe ni kuzuia kuiba mali ya Wakenya, na kazi yetu ni kukuanika. Ukijaribu kuiba mali ya Kenya tunakutangaza. Sasa nimeona umekasirika vile nilitaka. Mimi nilitaka wewe ukasirike. You lose your temper. You lose your cool. You stop being presidential. Sasa Kasongo amekuja bahari nilikuwa nataka yeye. Ameteremuka chini. He is no longer presidential. Amekuwa mtu ya propaganda na fitina. Sasa haongei mambo ya barabara, haongei mambo ya maji, anaongea mambo ya wanawake, mambo ya wasichana, nani hana bibi, sijui nini. Ameteremuka bahari tulikuwa tunataka yeye. Akae hapo. Akae wapi? Sasa nimeona mpaka Kasongo amechanganyikiwa.
Yes. Decorum. Is this presidential? That level of debate, and it's across board, because it's either you are the president or you aspire to be president. As you make your final remarks, what kind of impact does this level of exchange have on the voters?
Fred, there's a big impact on this because opposition team are supposed to be government in waiting, and probably as a Kenyan, I would love to see how different they will treat certain issues that we consider challenging this government. So when you are telling me you actually want to pull the president to a corner where you are discussing these banters, it means what we started from will happen. Kenyans will say, both of you don't deserve this seat, and that is very bad. We need to have a choice, and that choice must come from the leadership that we have either in the opposition or within the government. Some of us now who probably have followed Raila the late for long now begin to miss him, because we can point a few areas during his time in the opposition which came to yield something to the country. Even at the point closer to his death, he would still, he's not the president, but he would still spark a debate. For example, he came up with the issue of devolution and tells the country, why shouldn't we just take institutions like Kenya to the counties, because all the roads are either for one county or another. For example, he talks about CDF. This is how CDF came to be. This is the gap it was coming to fill. But at this point in time, with devolution now, I think CDF needs to go back to the national government, because counties are now here and taking care of 1, 2, 3, 4. Even though many politicians, especially members of parliament, were not able to agree. But I think those were healthy debate coming from someone who is not president, opposition. So probably the opposition also needs to know. We need to know that they are ready. And for example, if SHA is becoming a problem, maybe we need to know from their end, in case they take power, this is what they are going to do, or this is the advice they have for this government to fix SHA, but the government of the day has refused to pick that advice. So we are exchanging them. You go out, you come in, so that you can do what you are providing as an alternative. So it is not that when you're in opposition, you have to wait until you are elected to actually make the country move. Make the country move even when you're still in opposition. If there is an idea to make the education funding model work, bring it. We are all Kenyans, we know. We will say it is these leaders who gave us the solution that these leaders in power could not get. And so we are justified in 2027 to actually bring them in and get these ones out. But if you are not doing that either, and you're telling us, I actually wanted the president here so that we can exchange this banter, he loses his cool, it is us who are losing as Kenyans, not him, not the president.
Oh, great. Senator Nyutu.
Fred, allow me to first say, you know, I normally listen to Senator Mungatana a lot because, you know, he's an older legislator. I mean, as far as having served in Parliament earlier is concerned, and he has served even as, I think, as assistant minister. But sometimes, you know, sometimes I see him, you know, avoiding issues because, of course, of the side that he belongs to. You know, when he says that the president had to travel to Kakamega, for example, to show the roads are being made, sugarcane farming is being improved. But Senator Mungatana, I mean, those are things that speak for themselves. I mean, you don't have to come to Murang'a and tell me you have made a road. If it is there, I can see it. I mean, the president doesn't have to come and tell the people of Murang'a, we have put up this particular road. If it is there, it speaks for itself. He doesn't have to come there every day. You know, when he says, and he has repeated this particular point very many times, that Rigathi Gachagua told lies in church. Senator Mungatana, my friend, my colleague, whom I respect a lot, please, President Ruto has not come out to deny anything that Rigathi Gachagua said. He gave a list of the things and the properties and businesses that William Ruto has acquired over the last 3 years. And we have been told that he is now amongst in the list of the 11 richest presidents in the world. Only 3 years after being president, while there are presidents who have been president or occupied that position for over 40 years. He's now richer than them. So Senator Mungatana should tell us exactly where this money is coming from, which business, because the only business I know that he was doing is that of chicken farming. And I mean, tell us how many chicken have been sold, how much taxes have been paid, and that kind of thing. So he has not denied anything that Rigathi Gachagua said in church on Sunday. And so to say that Rigathi Gachagua told lies is actually not true. When he says that Ruto you can find him working at odd hours of the night, Senator Mungatana is telling us that President Ruto is not human. Every human being must sleep in order for their brains to function well and in order for them to perform. Unless Senator Mungatana wants to come and tell us again that President Ruto is superhuman. Remember, in quotes, he's the only one who has brains, and Senator Mungatana can explain that and say where the brains that were meant for us, you know, got lost and that kind of thing. I mean, he's just trying to portray a superhuman being. The other thing that we must correct very fast, Fred, is Senator Mungatana did not get my argument about a patron. When I likened a patron to a best couple, what I said is the best couple can come and advise me if I have some, you know, marital problems in my marriage, but they cannot order for my arrest as a husband. That is what we are saying. He cannot come, the best man cannot come and insult me. Okay. President Ruto called these other doctors charlatans and all those things. That is what we are saying. As a patron, he has a role to play, but that role does not include ordering the arrest of people, because these other doctors should have reported to DCI. Allow me to just finish. I'll wind up in half a minute. And he asked, for what purpose would Ruto want to take Nairobi Hospital? Hospital for the simple reason that Ruto wants everything. He wants to own everything. That is the simple reason. You don't have to think about it at all. And Riggy G was point on that if William Ruto, instead of addressing issues, is now coming down to talk about girls, to talk about those who have no wives, those who impregnated who. I mean, Kenyans can now see the kind of president that they elected. And finally, we have issues, Meshach. We say we are going to improve SHA, we are going to cover everybody. We say that for affordable housing, we are going to spend whatever has already been collected in the sale proceeds to construct more houses. We are going to suspend the housing levy. Senator, we have said that we are going to generate more power for more industries to come up, new investors, local and foreign. And we are going to look at human rights, and we are not going to allow any violations.
Because of time, I want to really give us
my time.
For him, it's my time
to answer this.
It's my time. It's my time.
Just 30 seconds.
He wants you to answer that question.
Yeah. As a lawyer, please, for the benefit of the public, if Nairobi Hospital is registered as a company by guarantee and not shares, is it possible for one person to own it?
Okay.
Yeah, as you.
Thank you.
Very briefly on that, as you make your final comments. It's about 2 minutes. Yeah.
We are going to spend 99% of our time addressing the issues of the country, and that is exactly what he did. Media has ignored the fact that he was talking about the schools there, education status, and the Minister of Education was there. The fact that he was talking about water situation, and the Minister of Water was there. The fact that he was talking about roads. You know, media has ignored all that because they want to sell their newspapers, they want to be, you know, to get headlines. But it is true that the president spent 99%, and those clips, they lasted for less than 2 minutes. If you combine all of them, they last probably for 3-4 minutes. And he was now using that 1% to tell these people, we have been around and we know. And let me tell you something else that needs to go on record. Riggy is not the first opposition politician. You know, there have been other political leaders who are in the opposition. Honorable Raila will go down in history as the father of devolution. Honorable Mwai Kibaki will go down in history as the leader of opposition who always questioned what happened in the budget. On issues to do with finance, he was fantastic. He would always come to Parliament. And so when we chose him to be our leader at that time, and later on he became president, we were on the opposition ourselves. We knew that we were sending in a person who was going to fight for the economy. And if Raila had come in, we know that he would have fought seriously for devolution. Now just tell me, what does Rigathi Gachagua stand for? What does he stand for? Oh, mountain this. Oh, mountain this. Oh, mountain that. Oh, mountain the other. This is a person who has only been elected once as a member of parliament. He has never sat in any committee. He does not know how to relate to leaders and has no idea about the geography of Kenya, other than the time that he was running around for the general election. So if ever we elected Rigathi into office by any miracle, then we must be prepared for the worst tribalist president in this country. This man has no regard for policy, nothing. That's why he's happy. He say, oh, we are now in the mud, but we are just telling him, disappointed. It's 1%. We'll give you that, but we will focus on the development of this.
So the president says he'll spend 1% of the time addressing these issues and answering back the opposition. But the question we're asking this morning, is it presidential? The Standard has declared that it is totally unpresidential. But that's their take. Rais achemka, gazeti la Taifa Leo, gloves are off, Daily Nation. Those are the headlines, the exchanges between the president and the leaders of opposition. Thank you so much once again, Senator Dr. Danson Mongatana, Senator Tana River County, Joe Nyutu, Senator Moranga, and political commentator Mesha Kodede for a very robust and vibrant debate this morning. After the break, we discuss matters health. Global Recycling Day. We'll be having Chairperson Kepro Board, Stephen Mooley, in studio for that conversation. Don't go anywhere. Good morning.